Hello and welcome to chapter 25 of Escaping Leah. This is a copy of Escaping Leah that I have in my hands. I'm going to read some parts to you from this chapter. It's called The Ranches. So this chapter revolves around Leah and Mike's statements on the sea organization and children. This includes their comments made about the beautiful properties that were hosting children for schooling, boarding, and every other function of their lives. Leah and Mike have decided to make the property sound like something from a horror film. These properties were ranches in California. They were operated by Scientologists trusted in the supervision of children and trained in all things children. Oh, and these ranches were set up to help raise children of the Sea Organization staff in the 1970s. These children were staying here free of charge because their parents or their guardian was in the Sea Organization. This was in the past. This action doesn't happen in the present. It was a test project that definitely helped many, but was later discontinued due to the amount of effort behind it. So the Sea Organization, is the religious order of the Church of Scientology, right? These individuals, they have so much on their minds, so much, right? Because they are, doing their hats, their duties as a religious order member, but they also have a lot of other things to juggle too. I mean, being in the Sea Organization and also just any nunship, even being a missionary, it's not something that you kind of just take a day off and you kind of just, oh yeah, everything's great, whatever. No, you have so much on your plates, so much on your mind that you're doing that, and everything else is like pushed to the wayside at the moment, right? You have to take care of yourself in the middle of all of that. I mean, it's all put into a schedule that works for you and also for your duties. It's super great, right? But the reason why they had this in the 1970s is because back in the day, during, when there was members of the Sea Organization, kids were allowed in the Sea Organization at that point, right? Meaning that their parents had joined the Sea Organization and they had no way of taking care of them due to the fact that they had so many duties in the Sea Organization, right? So it was a test project to see if the church could help in some way, shape, or form in relieving that duty and to take care of that kid, right? So they were using Sea Organization members as well as other professionals to take care of the kids, right? And they were doing a fantastic job. In fact, the kids were loving it. I have some people in this chapter that actually go over their experiences. Super great, right? So the apostates, what they do is they take a beautiful thing, right? Take a beautiful thing that's not known about publicly, because why would it? It's not even a big deal, right? It's literally just kids were in the Sea Organization because their parents were in the Sea Organization and they were being taken care of, and the parents would come visit, and that's totally fine, right? So it wasn't even a big deal. But that definitely did change. So I think it changed right after it, actually. Like, after that moment, I think it was after that last wave of kids, they just said no more kids in the Sea Organization. It takes a lot of resources and time and effort. If you want to have kids, you can have them outside the Sea Organization and come back at a later date, kind of deal, right? Of course, it's up to them, whatever, right? But parents definitely aren't disconnected from their families when they're in the Sea Organization. They're encouraged by the church to visit their family, stay in touch, and update the church on any requested days off to handle personal or familial affairs. And while there were kids in the Sea Organization, being taken care of while their parents were in the Sea Organization, you have to understand the parents were always visiting. As you'll see, many different things in here. There are many statements that kind of gets you thinking about why they're spreading it. But they just want to create horror stories and controversy to make it seem like the church is a bad thing because that's what they get paid for, right? But basically, on the A&E show, Leah and Mike had paid some disgruntled former members of the church to share their experiences, which are just scripted, as said in previous chapters, by her own words. experience, and even went as far as to say that they were, abused in some way, which that's just another buzzword. Nobody was. There's witnesses that state that they weren't. This was easily discredited by her best friend at the time. If this occurred at the time, she would have easily shared it with her best friend. She would have gotten the help to handle it. It wouldn't have been tolerated. So if it was actually true, trust me, it would have been handled like really fast. But we don't tolerate that at all. If that's actually occurring, we don't tolerate it. You're out. This is just another buzz statement used to drive controversy at the Church of Scientology and to get their payout. The statements made were actually quite evil. They were uncalled for and bigoted at every turn. This is just one statement that I'm going to read to you, but there's many. Actually, I'm going to read you probably about 3, just to give you a certain point of this, right? So this this person says, I grew up at the Cadet Org Ranch. That's what they called it. Cadet Org really just referred to kids, right? Kids that were, kids that were the kids of Sea Organization members. I grew up at the Cadet Org Ranch in Los Angeles, California. It's this beautiful area. It's right next to a reservoir, and it's surrounded by mountains. I guess I would say, like, if I were to describe my experience at the ranch, it was something I would never give up. We were able to go camping and we were able to go hiking, obviously under reasonable supervision, but it was just amazing. The entire experience was like, good now, we're going to do this. And we're like, yay! The boys would be skateboarding or playing football, and the girls would be making up dances or reading in our room or riding horses or going on hikes, but it was fun. We always were entertaining ourselves and never were stuck to screens like this generation. These are just many statements from people that have, been at the ranches. I have some of these fond memories of just cracking open a watermelon that we grew, just sitting on a railroad tie, just eating the big old watermelon. Or sometimes we would go and we would have our gardens. We would pick flowers. I remember we used to put the flowers into a vase and stick them in our rooms. It was fun. That was cool. Or we would go swimming. We used to go swimming almost every day, and that was just for fun. And then this one says, I grew up in the Cadet Org with Sana. I understand that there's a claim that she was sexually abused while she was at the Cadet Org in the ranch. I was there when Sana was there. Not once did Sana mention anything to me. But not only that, no one ever told me about any kind of sexual abuse that was happening. I never heard of any kind of sexual abuse. I'm pretty surprised. I'm shocked to hear about this happening because 20 years later, she's talking about these abuses that happened as though it happened. But realize 20 years have gone by. So then she's saying I was sexually abused. But in that 20 years, and even the time I was there, I've talked to many people about our experiences there. I've talked to many people about different things that have happened in those 20 years with our friends and how we're doing now. And just different people who work there. And never ever did I hear there being sexual abuse at the ranch. So it's just another buzzword, guys. There it is. This is what they want, right? So you have to understand. This doesn't make any sense. And I'm just going to lay that out for you, and you make up your own mind about it, because they're just buzzwords. And if you believe it, I would definitely go ahead and do more research into this book. Also, Truth About Apostates and also The Hidden Agenda. Make up your own mind about them and make up your own truth about them. Anyway, thank you so much. Get your copy of Escaping Leah at exposingcrimes.com. Thanks so much, guys. See you on chapter 26.